Yeah, isn't it crazy how fast it changes? Like, we were just here fishing and it did not look like that, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
So this first little spot's where we're getting those two big giant black boars coming in, and there's well, what's up guys, it's Daniel in Houston from Arms Family Homestead, and it's hot again. That's the story of the day every day lately. But Houston and I are out. We've got about maybe 45 minutes before it gets dark, and we're gonna go feed the deer, check on a couple game cameras. We've been kind of watching the deer herd lately. We're also gonna do some fishing. Don't let me forget about that. I promise I won't forget to go fishing. But we've been feeding the deer a little bit. Put out a few game cameras probably, I don't know, a month or so ago. Started feeding the deer some, because as you can see, even our pastures are not looking good. There's not a lot of great food for the deer right now, and we want to see what we want to get an inventory of the deer on our property, see what the bucks look like. You know, we put minerals out. We put the Lucky Buck minerals out all year long, and start kind of supplementing the deer just to kind of get an idea of what kind of deer we have on our property for the upcoming deer season, which bow season starts October 1st. And Houston's got a crossbow ready to go again this year, huh?
Yep.
So we're gonna put a little feed out on the ground in front of a couple different cameras and then hit the pond. Houston's got his fly rod, because he wants to see if he can catch a bluegill on a fly rod in the pond. We're not going to the creek, I don't think. We're gonna go to the pond. And I think I'm just going to try and see if we can catch some of our tilapia. You know, we put all those tilapia in the pond a couple months back when we did our shock survey, and they should be, you know, plenty big enough to start catching some tilapia now.
Yeah.
So this is a little area I kind of brought the skid steer and the mulcher in and just kind of cleaned up everywhere. We've got some mineral out on the ground, and that's one of the fields where we hunt, you know, in the fall and stuff. What's the matter?
I can't get it.
Oh, you don't have big enough muscles yet? Here, lift. Grab a hold. Lift! And I'm not feeding anything fancy right now. This is not a specific deer feed, Houston. Do you need me to dump it on the ground for you, or can you handle that?
I can dump.
This is actually just a 14% creep feed, but we've got a game camera set up right here and a mineral station. And just dump it in a pile, bud. You don't have to scatter it. Just dump it out. The reason I'm feeding so much of this is actually what I switched to in our bulk feeder. It's a 14% creep feed. That's a 3/8 inch pellet. And a lot of our animals are not really taking a liking to it like I thought they would. It's a little cheaper than the feed I was feeding before, but the other feed is a blend, a byproduct blend, and the animals really like it, but there was getting to be a lot of finings, a lot of dust in it. So I wanted to switch up the feed and transition to this, and the goats love it. The donkeys will eat it. The alpacas are not really a fan at all, and obviously it's too big for birds and stuff. So the chickens and everything, they eat their own chicken feed. But anyways, the deer are just devouring this right now because they just don't have a, you know, there's a lot of forage out there, but not a lot of great nutrition at the moment. The acorns haven't started falling, and a lot of the, you know, native browse is not in the greatest of condition right now. So, all right, next feeder.
Yep.
Really, the most common thing that 99.9% of deer hunters feed deer in their feeders and stuff is just whole corn. But this time of year, the deer really they don't get anything out of whole corn. It's just empty carbohydrates, and corn in the wintertime helps, you know, build body heat for wildlife, for the deer and whatever, you know, you're feeding, and they love it. This time of year, the deer will eat a little bit of corn, but I could put corn in a feeder right now and they're just not really drawn to it. But this 14% creep feed, man, they just seem to really like it right now. And I'm just pouring it on the ground because it doesn't work real well in a broadcast feeder. So that 5-gallon bucket will be gone in about 2 days.
Oh, what is that? That's a duck up there or a buzzard? Oh, that's a buzzard.
Oh, that's a buzzard on the power line.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. You said, oh, what's that? I didn't know what you were talking about. Neighbor's cows are out grazing.
Oh, is it heavy?
No, it's not that heavy. You got it. This is the field where Houston shot Limpy Gimpy last year. Matter of fact, Limpy Gimpy was standing in the trees right over there and ran out into this field and circled and fell over.
Right about over there.
Pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you can kill a bigger deer this year than you did last year?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't want to give up too many secrets, huh?
No. Not yet.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how fast it changes? Like, we were just here fishing and it did not look like that, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
It had that little bit of green sludge on the top, but it was not covered in moss.
No.
You know it?
Yeah.
And that's where I want to fish, right there, and we got nastiness. Well, I don't know if it's going to work or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, that looks horrible. Right where we want to fish, in front of the feeder. Pond is just looking nasty right now.
Look at that line of stuff.
Yep, I see it.
It's just a big old line.
We were here fishing, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 3 days ago. And it didn't look like that at all. And that's just due to the heat. That algae bloom takes over, pops up, and just explodes in a hurry. Huh. What we could do is take the boat and the trolling motor and push all this out of the way, but I threw a handful of feed out and not even hardly a single bluegill came up that time. You know it? Well, as you can see, it's the next day. Houston and I did not get to do much fishing last night. I know I promised you guys we were going to be fishing, trying to fly fish and do all that stuff. The pond just looked terrible. And the wind kind of blows that stuff around our pond, and just the wind changed and blown it all to the front, and it was just nasty. And yeah, we tried to fish for a few minutes, didn't even break out the fly rod, caught one little bluegill. But anyways, fast forward to today, I made it over to the Mill Creek property. I'm gonna go check a couple cameras there, or here, and dump out a little bit of feed. We're mostly, quite honestly, feeding the pigs. The wild hogs have moved in full force over here, and we've got quite a few deer still coming in, don't get me wrong, but mostly feeding the pigs. I've tried to come over here 2 to 3 times a week and dump out a little bit of feed to keep these pigs coming in on a pretty strict routine, because Dutch, from Keeping It Dutch, borrowed my pig trap, the big circular drop trap. We've done all kinds of videos in the past. Haven't got to use it at all in almost a year because we trapped all the pigs. We solved our problem, but they have moved back in, and I think he's going to try to bring that trap back down to me tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. If not tomorrow, sometime this week. So hopefully we'll get that thing set up and start catching some pigs here, because there's a couple different groups. One group's like 3 sows and a whole bunch of little bitty piglets, and then there's 2 big boars that are running together, and I want to catch those 2 pretty bad, and you know, get back on the deer hunting grind. Deer season is just around the corner, like I said earlier in this video. It's you know, creeping in on late August, so bow season starts October 1st, and you got to get ready. So this first little spot's where we're getting those two big giant black boars coming in, and there's a little small pond right there. Not much of a pond, more like a mud hole, a little water hole, but they're coming in just about every evening right here. And also there's a really nice little, like maybe 7-point buck coming in right there. But you know, I would have thought bringing that skid steer with that big disc mulcher through here would have spooked the deer. The other day I drove the skid steer with the mulcher right past that and was working about 100 yards from there. And you can see me drive by the camera, and less than an hour later, there's 2 deer standing there eating while I was still here working. I was here all day that day. And then later you can see me drive back by. It was pretty wild. Tell you what, if we ever do decide to sell this place, someone's going to get a really, really cool property that's going to have all kinds of roads and trails built and maintained and nice and wide and clear, with some open food plots and big pastures for hay. And just building trails on the property, building roads and trails is fun, but having that disc mulcher, I'm going to have more trails through this property than I can remember. So maybe someday someone's going to end up with a really cool place. Pond's getting mighty low. Well, I figure as while as we're here, we might as well get a little actual work done. So I am going to fire up skid steer and this Ironcraft disc mulcher and do a little bit of work. Not a ton. I don't want to overwork this machine when it's 105 degrees outside. I know it's got an air conditioner and I'm comfortable inside, but that's a lot of heat for your engine. You're running this thing at full throttle, high RPMs. Man, the heat's just not worth it. We've got plenty of time that it's going to cool off, start cooling off in the evenings pretty soon, I hope. But I have a confession. I have a confession about the disc mulcher. You guys have seen me use it a couple times now, and it is a cedar tree eating machine. It chews them up and spits them out into tiny pieces. But I haven't exactly been doing it right. So these types of implements work solely on hydraulic flow. It's not a PTO driven machine like what's on the back of a tractor. It's all based off hydraulic flow that comes from the machine. And this is a high flow unit. It'll handle up to, well, 32 to 44 gallons per minute where it wants to run. And it's all unhooked right now. I have been running it on just the standard flow. So we're not getting anywhere near the hydraulic flow that this thing wants to run at. It will run at lower flow, but we're not using it to its full potential. And that was because I didn't have the right hydraulic couplers. This, we got 1/2 inch, and what came on the Mulcher was 3/4, but my machine runs 5/8. And I've been to the hydraulic parts store a couple times and not been able to get the right stuff, but I think we got it straightened out today. So I need to swap out a couple fittings, and then we should be able to hook this up to high flow and really be able to get this disc spinning to its full potential. So hopefully it all hooks up right today. All right, wish me luck. Hopefully I got the right ones this time. Looky there. Makes a world of difference, doesn't it? And the case drain. All right, let's fire this up and get to do some cutting. area right here is a prime example of something that I definitely want to clean up. So it looks like solid brush right here, right? Which we're actually just kind of on the edge of a field. There's one giant oak tree in here. And over the years, what has happened is, as the previous owner mowed around the tree, he didn't get close enough. And, you know, that's due to low hanging limbs and all that kind of thing. But I'm gonna set the camera up and clean up all the way around this tree and make it look a whole lot better. And as you can see, it's just completely grown up with cedar trees. There's probably 20 or 30 cedar trees in a circle around this tree. And that is a big, giant oak tree. So we're gonna clean it up and make it look pretty around here again. And like I said, we're right on the edge of the timber, so there's still a lot of bedding, still a lot of habitat for the deer and the wildlife and such. So let's set up a camera and get this cleaned up. Well, we might not have got any fishing accomplished on this video. We did get some work done, and telling you, that right there, I'm not sure that would ever get old. I know why there's guys out there that do that stuff for a living, because, man, there's just something cool about taking that big oak tree, for example, completely covered all the way around in cedar trees, and in just 5 minutes, you get it all cleaned up. And hopefully we'll get that big pig trap over here in the next day or two, get that thing set out and start trapping some pigs so we can get more pictures of deer and less pictures of pigs. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget Ironcraft attachments. If you're looking for any kind of tractor or skid steer attachments, check out Ironcraft before you buy. They make some really good, really heavy duty stuff from what I've seen so far. But guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.